What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Dead Noise. I'm Chris, and thanks to the power of Zoom, I am here with a familiar face and friend of the channel, Miss Katerina Nicole. How you doing today, ma'am?
Hey guys. Hi Chris. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here again.
Yeah, like I said off camera, the first interview back in March, February, whenever it was, a couple months ago, was so much fun, and I love the sound of your debut EP, Serene and Violent Oceans. I thought it was a fantastic direction into heavier music. And now, recently, you've released the new single, Crystalline, which might be my favorite song of yours ever. So, what was the overall direction like? What were you going for? And now that the song is out, how's the reception been from your perspective?
So finishing up the EP, was like a passion project for me. I didn't know how things were going to go. I didn't know how it was going to be received after switching from EDM, but I knew that's something that I needed to do for myself and put it out to the world and do CDs and vinyl and the whole shebang and just like test the waters. And I was like so blown away by the feedback that I had, all of the fans I started getting, all of the positivity that was coming from it, and people saying like this really suits you and keep going with it. And I started a couple of little screams as well in the EP, and I was like so excited to learn how to do that better. So going into the studio again, Jordan Chase and I were like, what are we doing? Like, where do we go from here? And all I knew is that I wanted to go more high energy and I wanted it to be more fun because Serene and Violent Oceans was a total trauma dump and it was a lot for me. And I'm really happy I did it, but I felt like this weight was lifted off of my shoulders. And I was like, okay, now we can have some fun.
Serene and Violent Oceans, it I really liked it. To this day, it's still probably one of my favorite EPs of the year. But there's something about this new single it sounds a lot more confident. It's very high energy. And I was kind of curious, is that just a matter of being more confident with making this type of music, or was that like a conscious effort or a mix of both?
It was probably a mix of both. Getting back in there, I was like, okay, like I think I know I can do this now. I know that, we can explore more, see what my voice can really do. So I had that confidence going into the vocal booth. And then when Jordan was creating this track, it was feeling very high energy and it made me just want to really like dive into that.
On the EP, you had experimented with harsh vocals, and with with our first interview, you had told me you had chickened out of doing them at your first show,
I
and
did. You remember that? Oh gosh.
I thought that was so funny.
And you
Uh,
know what? I just got the recordings and the video footage back from that show, and you can see me kind of laugh and look over at Jordan like, "Are you gonna do this for me?" And he's just so into the bass in the moment. He wasn't paying attention to like help me out. So, yeah.
so how was it? What was the learning curve like with being more confident in doing those types of vocals and really belting it out on Crystalline?
I've heard a few bands say there's like this certain pressure that happens when you go in for your second album or you start to work on new music because you feel like you have to one up it or you feel like you have to, I don't know. And so like I went in there feeling a little bit of that pressure and Jordan was making these tracks and he goes, "Oh, this is some of the best stuff I've ever written." And I'm just like, well, that's putting a lot of pressure on me as a vocalist to deliver. So, we had a couple of rough days where he was like, "You know what? Go home, listen to these demos, whatever you got to do mentally, figure it out, and then come back and give your vocals, another go." So, yeah, it was a bit of a that was the learning curve for me. And I guess I will announce right now, we just made a full-length album with 11 tracks, and this took 8 months of work. And so I had this period back in BC, Canada, where we did 4 tracks and we're like, we're not done yet. But I had to come back to Greece, and so we're like, let's just stay tuned on this. And when I came back, we did the rest of the tracks. So we've got 11 that are pretty hard.
Wow. I wasn't expect One of my questions was gonna be, is this single part of another EP or something in the future? But I was not expecting a full length or for you to already be ready with that answer. That's so
Yeah,
cool though.
I'm not good at keeping secrets. I'm really not.
I can cut
Yeah.
that part out if you want me to.
No, I don't mind at all. I want people to get excited for it and to know what's coming. And, I could go different ways with this. I could keep Crystalline as a single. I
Hmm.
could put it into this full length. There's so many directions I could go in, and I'm kind of just testing the waters. And I don't mind sitting on it for a while, releasing a couple of tracks. I really do need to get a full band that can tour the world with me. So there's a lot of things at play that I'm working on right now.
Hmm. And that's such a really good point because I think back to bands like Motionless in White, and they would release a single like a year and a half in advance of even announcing an album, only to find out that that was ended up being the lead single. But I think that's a really smart thing to do, to see the reception of the new direction for a little bit and then go from there. I think that's really smart.
I'm really happy with these tracks, and I mean, I'm eager to perform them. And I actually performed an unreleased track at my LA show,
Oh.
as the intro track, and it was a banger. And I'm like, oh God, this is good. This is really good stuff. So it's going to be hard for me to sit on it for so long.
Hmm.
I've never had to do that, and I already know, by spring I'm going to want to start making more music again. So yeah, we'll see how much networking I can do to get things moving along.
Yeah, I was kind of curious, like with the EP releasing earlier this year, I believe it was sometime in February. How soon after was Crystalline written and eventually the album that's to come out sometime next year?
So yeah, the EP came out February 21st, I believe, and I was already back in the studio in April.
Wow.
Where I did Crystalline and three other tracks. And we kind of, I love that when I did my EP, Catch My Breath was the first track that we made. And
Hmm.
same with this round, Crystalline was the first track that we made to set the tone. So it felt right to release it first, be like, hey, this is the direction I'm going in. So
There's probably not a lot that you can say at this moment as far as the sonic nature of the album, but going off of Crystalline, how would you think that the full length compares to that of the EP from a musical perspective?
ooh, I'm definitely going in a new metal direction. I think that that high energy comes from a lot of inspiration from like Linkin Park and Papa Roach and just like really boppy stuff
Hmm.
with still very melodic lyrics and vocals. Um, and I think that's just fun. So to me, when I hear new metal, that's kind of what I still imagine. And we still have, lots of drop F and really heavy riffs and breakdowns. That's not going away. So we're just really building off the EP.
That's really interesting because I'm trying to remember back to when we first talked. I think some of the bands that you had mentioned were Spirit Box, Bring Me the Horizon, maybe, and I think
Yeah,
Bad Omens.
you
So
got it.
I was kind of curious, like what the influences were for this single and for the album, because it does have a very different energy, and I kind of got a bit of a new metal vibe from it, musically. I think yeah, Linkin Park, I mean, you can't go wrong with Linkin Park.
Yeah, and I grew up to a lot of that, so it's very familiar. Deftones, there's a lot of Spine Shank
Oh, dude. I
influence,
love Spine
and
Shank.
and also I believe this will be the lead single of the album, but this particular track has Misery Signals. I don't know if you're familiar.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, very exciting.
As soon as you said Spine Shank, I'm like, yep, I'm ready. I'm so glad that
Yeah,
they're back together.
yeah, you know what? Jordan has introduced me to a lot of bands as I got more into the metal scene. So I definitely thank him for that. I'd go home and listen to Spine Shank's albums, and then I'd come back the next day at the studio, and then he'd be like, okay, now go listen to Misery Signals. And, it just was on and on. So I would pick up a lot of stuff vocally, just whatever I wanted to.
And being in California, were you able to see a lot of different bands that you probably wouldn't have before, whether they were bands that Jordan introduced you to or not?
There was a lot of shows when I was in LA, but I was so busy. I also
Mm.
did a music video for Crystalline when I was there. So there was oh, what's the festival they just had?
Aftershock?
Aftershock, thank you. I would have loved to, but I would have been dead. Like, I'm a small town girl. I need my sleep. I needed to look fresh for camera, and I just couldn't make it. But there was Bring Me the Horizon, Dayseeker, Demon Hunter, and I know the lead singer of Demon Hunter. He also has worked on the album art with Kevin
Mm.
Moore. So I would have loved to see his show. Um, there was a whole lot of shows, but I did get to go see Saliva, which I liked Click Click Boom. So I was like, oh, let's go see that. That was great. And there was a couple of other Circle the Earth opened for Saliva, and also Innocence Torn.
Mm.
And Bonnie, the lead singer, actually does a podcast. So we were talking about connecting soon as well, which is nice because I love hearing other bands' perspectives. And I mean, I would love to be on a podcast and interview other artists and just kind of get their perspective on what their life is like. Because for me, it's really wild and fun, but it's also really hard. So,
I think about that a lot because I know a lot of musicians do have like Less Than Jake, what's it? Chris DeMakes from Less Than Jake, he has a podcast. A couple members of Avenged Sevenfold, I think, have podcasts. And I'm a fan, and I have a pretty decent musical knowledge being a former musician myself, but not a rock musician. But like to hear two musicians have a conversation together, that's when I think some of the best conversations happen.
yeah, I would like to know what it's like for them, what it has been like. I mean, especially me as a branded solo female artist.
Hmm.
I'm in this alone a lot of the time, just kind of like figuring things out as I go. I had to hire a band for in LA. I organized the rehearsals, I organized the music videos. I do pretty much almost everything myself. Of course, it's a team effort, and I have to delegate and ask people for help, but it would be nice to have band members with me to like have their input, to know how to do some stuff that can take off my plate. And I would love to get to that point, just to feel more connected and more of a community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you have any, if you were to be in that position and could talk to any musician to get any tips or pointers from them, who would be your top musicians that you would want to have a conversation with like that?
Ooh, good question. I mean, it's pretty crazy to know that Courtney LaPlante was in so many different bands, and she
Yeah.
hustled hard for so many years. And so I would love to know what that was like. And I'm sure she does have some conversations about it with podcasts and stuff, but I haven't listened to them. So I would love to know about what that was like for her, and now reaching this level of success where they can perform and do anything they want, and they have access to everything, and they are making some money. That's great, because I mean, everything's coming out of pocket for me, and that's probably my biggest struggle right now. And I would love to have that conversation with other artists. It's like, hey, how the hell do you do it? Because I don't have any help financially. I'm not signed to a label. I have to budget everything, and I don't get paid. I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm paying everybody else, and I'm not getting paid for my art and my music. And we all know what streams are like. They give nothing.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to as of recently, do content seeding where influencers will, do some stuff with my tracks. And the price points that they're asking for is insanity. And I know everybody needs to make their money, but at what point will I start to make some money doing what I love to do? I wish more people talked about it, honestly, about the struggles.
Yeah, everybody talks about Ticketmaster and the price of concert tickets, but nobody actually talks about the how artists get paid more or that they even should get paid more. But some people just don't want to have that conversation, and I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah, everybody else gets paid first.
Yeah.
So got the short end of the stick a little bit right now, but I'm hoping that in the next year that I can make the right connections because I know it's all about who you know and
Yeah.
putting yourself out there and stuff. And I just need to be more a little smarter with how I budget.
Now, I'm really curious about the music video for Crystalline because I had seen some behind the scenes from your Instagram story. And in our first interview, I told you like how much I loved the music videos for the Serene and Violent Oceans EP. So, visually, how does this compare to previous music videos, but also how does it apply to the subject matter of Crystalline lyrically?
I originally had like an idea to be very iridescent and sparkly and just like, crystal caves and all that kind of stuff. But the more I talked with my video director, Angel Lopez, we were really just looking around on Peerspace and in LA to find a space to rent that could work. And everything I saw was like super empty. And I really just didn't imagine myself being in an empty space again because, I
Hmm.
did that for the last couple of videos where we had just a couple of props in a studio. And I was like, I really want it visually to be intense. I want people to have a lot of things to look at, not just me, and have a really cool storyline. And that's when I came across this really epic garage. And I was like, okay, we could probably do something great with this. And little did I know that Angel had four guys on his crew that were going to show up that day. But I didn't know he was going to have at least two. So I was like, can I grab a couple of mechanic um, jumpsuits and a couple of masks and we'll just see like what kind of creepy horror stuff we can do. We didn't end up using any blood. We didn't go that far, but they did do a little bit of torture. They did tie me down. They did have I don't know, I think it was kind of like a buffer machine that had sparks flying, and that was a lot of fun. Did you see um, the live that I had posted? Is that what you saw?
Yes, I did see part of
Okay, it
that.
went on for a while. My mom just kept going with I did just archive it just to keep it in my back pocket to probably release again in short form. But I did get some behind the scenes footage. I got some behind the scenes photos as well. And I had the really great Nikki Phillips come and take photos of me. So I'm really excited about that.
She is a fantastic photographer. I see her concert photos all the time and it's
Yeah.
a work of art. She's one of my favorites.
It was just literally, I think, a year ago where I had messaged her and I was like, I love your work so much. It would be an honor to work with you someday. And I thought this is like some pipe dream, like so far. And she was like, actually, I'll pop by your shoot and I'll take some photos of you. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Like, thank you. That's amazing. And it was right before she had to go to When We Were Young festival. So it was so kind of her. But yeah, as far as the theme of the music video, I just let it unfold. I like to wing it. I like to just see what we can work with and lean into that. So it's definitely a lot edgier. Um, we did two different locations and I really had that vibe from the crew that they were gonna piece it together accordingly. Like I haven't had any worries about it. I'm like, you guys do your thing. It's gonna look great. So I should have it I think in a few days. So I'm excited to see it. Yeah, I'm so surprised these guys at Outbox have been together for 6 months. They're so professional. They're all creative. They're all enthusiastic. They were hyping me up. Um, I don't want to give away one of the scenes, but they were down for something really great because I wanted to do some kind of stunt because like I'm very um, active and I'm just like let's push the boundaries, but we weren't able to do that. So we came up with another idea and they went for it. So they were troopers and let me beat them up a little bit. I'll just say that. Yeah.
As soon as you said that it was you guys found a garage, I'm like, well, there's even more new metal vibes because how many new metal videos were in like garages or abandoned warehouses? I think that's so cool though. Because sometimes it's just the right look.
Yeah, it felt right. And I was like, we can really work with this. And then it just put my costumes together easily and my vibe and hair and makeup and stuff. So I just knew it was right. And then you never know what's going to come of that. It was the first time that I had hired off of Peer Space. I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I should have guessed. It's LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got the app and I'm looking at all these locations. And it turns out that this guy, Mike, that has the garage, he also does car stunts, which is perfect for my next video. Hint, hint, it's gonna be so fun.
Is there anything that you can share about that right now?
It's about a previous time. I can say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to dig too much into the album because I don't know what you can say, what you can't say, what's done, what's not done. But just knowing that there is a full length coming, that's more than enough for me anyway, as a fan.
And just talking about it, like even right now, it feels good to say that it's going to be a full length because that's how it feels when I listen to it.
Hmm.
Because I don't think it would feel right to just keep releasing singles at this point. It might be a smarter strategy until I land the type of deals that I need to make to start making money and having that whole team, and that support system. But I'm gonna still do what feels right for me. And if this is meant to be a full length, hey, maybe somebody will jump on it and love it like that.
When you did EDM music, was it always singles or did you make EPs also? Because I remember listening to that stuff, but I couldn't remember how it was released or formatted.
Man, it was so easy to do. I actually did most of it long distance with my producer in the Netherlands. It was very low budget. They got released really easily. I did very little marketing, and I still have insane streams. I've got like over 106,000 streams on Sunset in Your Love. It's still my number one track, and I haven't done anything in it in probably a year and a half, 2 years now. So I'm just like, I'm hustling hard with this metal stuff when that was so easy for me, but nothing good comes easy, so that's okay.
That's very true. And I think we might have talked about that in the first interview, how like doing the rock stuff kind of felt more rewarding in a way, or more cathartic, especially given the subject matter. Um, do you still feel that way, like this is the right path to go, even though it's a little more difficult?
Yeah, absolutely. Just yesterday, I had somebody approach me and ask if I wanted to do some pop music. And I'm like, do I want to be a pop star right now? Heck no. I'm good. I don't want to shake my butt on stage. I'm good. That's
I,
not me right now. So yeah, I'm good.
that's hilarious. Lyrically speaking, I know Crystalline is a probably a really good indicator given that it might be the lead single, but as far as where you were looking lyrically for inspirations, I know Serene and Violent Oceans was a very specific time and place in your life, and that's where a lot of the subject matter came from, and the music kind of resulted. It was kind of in some ways somber, some ways really heavy. How What's the inspiration for this upcoming album lyrically?
It's very cool, and I'm so proud of myself because I wrote this entire album myself. Except for one song Jordan wrote. We wrote it together. And so I wanted to check that off the list. Like, hey, I can fully write this. I got this. And it definitely took a little bit more love. And I tried to use a lot of resources on the internet to help me with that, to piece things together, use more words I wouldn't normally use, find different perspectives. But there's always truth in everything that I've written, whether it's from somebody else's perspective, but mostly mine. Um, and just still going with the theme of life, going through your struggles, finding the strength, and Crystalline is about that transformation and feeling safe within yourself and being there for yourself. And yeah, there's definitely that underlying theme of just being a badass.
I can't remember if we talked about this the first time around, but when it came to writing for electronic music and writing for rock music, was it a different process for like melodies and stuff like that and trying to find lyrics for certain melodies? And has that gotten easier with this new album now that you've got the experience of the EP under your belt now?
Yeah, this album came out like music vomit. It was so easy, and I would love for Jordan to jump on an interview with me and to just like talk about how easy and well we work together. And this time around, I had so much more to offer from myself right out of the gate going into our sessions. And I would be like, okay, I've got this whole verse section. And he would look at it and then he would create the melody just like that. And there was really no thinking about it. It was just like, here it is. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, when the time comes, when the album's out, you guys definitely have an open invite here whenever you want. So I would love to have a conversation with both of you guys for sure.
Oh, sweet. We would love that. Absolutely.
Well, for this go around, this was everything that I had planned for this interview. Were there any plugs that you wanted to make? Any closing message for any fans of yours watching?
Ooh, stay tuned for more heavier, fun stuff from me. And if any fellow musicians are there that are in a place where they're open and free and they've loved my tracks, they want to jump on it, you want to come on tour with me, let's connect. That's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking at doing a tour in the spring and then hopefully some festivals in the summer. Working on that really hard right now. So reach out to me and we'll chat.
Hell yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for the time. It was great to speak with you again. This was so much fun as always, and I can't wait to do it again in the future.
sounds good. Thank you, Chris, for having me.
And to everybody who watched this, thank you for watching. And until the next interview, stay tuned, stay scared, and I'll catch you later.
Bye.